I'm back. And so is Jimmy Kimmel. After being cancelled. That he was, yeah. His freedom of speech was cancelled by ABC. Disney, that was. But the people spoke, they did. They stood up against the tyranny, against their freedom of speech. You see, Donald Trump's freedom of speech is you got the freedom to say nice things about Donald Trump. But not nasty things. Nasty, he says, yeah. So, Jimmy Kimmel's back, and I actually watched it. For me, it had been last night, during the night when I should have been asleep. Anyway, I watched it, okay? I watched it live, and I have to admit, I'm going to probably watch more of it. More of Jimmy Kimmel, because I actually really quite enjoyed it, alright? That was only about 30 minutes long. The first part, there was a little bit of a bit of a eulogy for Charlie Kirk in some ways, mocking Trump at the same time, which, is kind of what he did that got him cancelled in the first place. But you need to also understand that's probably a requirement of him getting his job back effectively. I don't think they had a lot of choice, to be honest. After all, they were losing shitloads of fucking money. The subscriptions, the share values, they literally dropped by over $3 billion they lost. And then there was Jimmy Kimmel as well, saying he's going to sue him for $1 billion because it was a breach of his contract. You see, he had the right to do political satire. That's what Jimmy Kimmel does. Anyway, he's back, and I just want to give you my 2 pence worth on what I thought about the show. So I made some notes about you. Now, he stood there and he said, with tears in the eyes, it wasn't about, it wasn't his intention to, about the death of a young man, he says, to undermine or demean the death of a young man. And he said it in a way, it was like, to me, that's fake tears, all right? It felt like Erica Kirk. I was a little bit disappointed in that bit of it, to be honest. I think he should just left it alone. But it might have been a requirement, part of the deal, he's got to say something. But it didn't feel real to me. I'm sorry, I can see through that shit. I really can. It wasn't real. Now, he did say, though, right, he said this, it's just 3 phrases on here that got me thinking. He said that this show is not important. But what is important is that we live in a country that allows us to have a show like this. I thought that was pertinent. That was, it's freedom of speech, political satire. Having a president that tries to cancel you because you hurt his fucking feelings is just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And now he's after absolutely every fucking one else. He wants to shut down, Colbert's what he's done, but he just wants to shut down everybody that speaks up against him. See, he's happy with freedom of speech as long as you agree with him. It's his version of reality, basically. And political satire he really does not like, all right? For now on, I believe we need to call Donald Trump a mush potato head, all right? Because there's a little bit of story behind that. Mary Trump let onto it the other day, about how Donald Trump's brother, Mary Trump's father, I think that's right, put a whole bowl of mashed potato on his head, and he sat there pouting with mashed potato on his head. And that was an ongoing joke for years. Apparently, they reminded him again recently. So anyway, but I think his brain's going to mush, so it's got to be mashed potato head, all right? So now the thing is, though, you see, the broadcast was 20% down. 20% of the franchises, okay, in the United States that air that show from ABC refused to air it because it's owned by a company called Sinclair Broadcasting. And Sinclair Broadcasting has got a major deal, what have you. Anyway, they stated that they will not, until he apologises and hands a wad of cash over to the Kirk family, that they wouldn't air Jimmy Kimmel. So still there is an issue. And it's still backfiring. A lot of these people ain't just all of a sudden go back to ABC, back to Disney, and renew their Hulu and Disney Plus and God knows what else. They're not going to do it, are they? They'll say, F you. Some people will. You know, also it's all done and dusted now. But I suggest that you don't. Why are you handing your money over to all these billionaires anyway, for a start? But you see, these people, they just want to control the narrative, don't they? They just want to control the narrative. They don't want you to speak up out against these people. They're all fascists, let's be honest. Now, the FCC chair, Brendan Carr, you know, he's a prime example of controlling freedom of speech, you know. And that's on both sides, you know. Well, actually, there's controlling freedom of speech if they don't agree with it. That's pretty much it, yeah. So Brendan Carr, he said, you know, you can do this the easy way or you can do this the hard way, he said, you know. But that's fascism. Now, some people say to me, no, you use that word too freely. You know, I just say as I see it. Look up the definition of fascism. What is going on at the moment is fascism. Plain and simple. Well, that one very ugly man, Ted Cruz, did say that political satire should not be hampered, you know, and freedom of speech should not be hampered. This is all backfiring on on obviously Disney, but also on the Trump regime. You know. Oh yeah, what a matter. Release the feckin' files. I've already uploaded the black book, unredacted. You know, if you want a copy of that, I have still got it. Now, we all know that Trump is a fascist, don't we? And they're just literally spending your money for their pleasure. So you know, so all billionaires, it's got to stop. And then when I see, oh crikey, these grifters, including Erica Kirk, right? She's a grifter. That's the way I see it. She's a grifter. Doing the old crying thing and what have you. And I forgive the young man who shot Charlie Kirk or something like that, she said, pretending to cry again and touching her eye, touching her nose with a tissue, then put it back in her eye again, touching her nose again, push it back in her eye again. You know, let's spread the old germ spray, get yourself some pink eye. You know, because you don't know, she might have been sniffing someone's anus or something. Obviously, Trump's. I don't know if you saw the oh crikey when Trump was doing his little speech and he called Erica Kirk in, and he looked like a sleazy faggot. Oh my god, yeah, hug, squeeze you, yeah, I can feel your breasts, oh my breasts, my boobs, yeah, you can just imagine it, kind of what's going through his fucking head, disgusting man. So anyway, Jimmy Kimmel's back, and I'm going to make more effort to watch Jimmy Kimmel, because actually I thought he was pretty good. Now, I always seen lots of clips and stuff like that, but never really watched the show right through. I would say this was a little bit of a reduced show because it was a little bit of sucking up at the beginning. No, it wasn't sucking up, that's not fair. It was trying to justify his position, effectively. But yeah, then he went into his show, his satire. So what do you reckon? Do you think that you should carry on the boycott because of Sinclair Broadcasting? Maybe you should have a look to see who else or other broadcast companies are owned by Sinclair Broadcasting. What other shows? Boycott them and all. Maybe. Anyway, toodaloo.